Welcome to the February. Well, we are recording February 27th. This is going to be out on March 1st, the first March version of the Zooch and Wilde podcast. We got a great show today. More college basketball than usual. We're going to be talking about the Kyle Filipowski and him getting run into on the court and that whole situation, as well as Zooch. Zooch might go on a little tangent today with the college basketball media he will bring up.
Oh yeah, they are.
It's gonna watch out Jay Bilas. But then after that, talk a little NCAA 25 and little NCAA versus Tennessee court ruling, and then as always, me matchup of the week and a high-low Buffalo special this week because of the Flipowski incident. College player and fan interactions. Any college sport, player fan interactions. But yeah, let's just get into what everyone wants to hear. Kyle Filipowski, at least what some people are saying. That's what some are saying. But I mean, I figured if you're listening to this, you've probably seen the clip. But if not, let me explain it. Wake Forest upset Duke in basketball on Saturday, and there was a court storm that happened. Now they did rush right away, but in the court storm, a Wake Forest student ran into Kyle Filipowski. Is that how you pronounce his name? I don't want to go this whole time without. I mean,
It
should
might be
I just say Flop?
I think yeah.
It's
I think it's
Filipowski.
Kyle Filipowski.
Okay. Because I was saying Flopopowski because that's the other part of the story. So a Wake Forest fan ran into Kyle Filipowski. Upon further like another camera angle showed that did he push the fan? Did he purposely do it? Maybe. I'm not going to say that. I don't think he did. But yeah, it opened up a can of worms onto whether court storming should be allowed. Zooch, I'll let you take it. I mean, I think differ than Jay Bilas in your opinion on this.
Okay, here's my thing with college basketball. There is no other sport that, for example, say we were both still going to Boise State, right? And like we played Air Force tonight, but let's say it was San Diego State and they were number 7. It's a Tuesday night. It's a 9:00. There is no other sport, not the NFL, no pro sport for sure, and not even college football, with the exception of Maction, which no team has ever ranked in that on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night, you can get a top 10 team coming into your building. It gives you an excuse to go out to like the bar or whatever you want to do, drink some, go after on a Tuesday night, celebrate till 1 in the 2 or 2 in the morning, specifically as like a freshman or sophomore, where your Wednesday class is a psychology 101 class that you can skip because you
Especially
have
if you have an arena on campus too. Like that. I
arena.
remember I have a like we didn't end up winning this, but my freshman year at Boise State, number I think 8, Nevada came when they still had Musselman, and that was like insane that day on campus. We ended up losing, but I don't know. Like I think someone there's two sides to this story and or two opinions, and I think we need to meet somewhere in the middle because you on one side you have Jay Billis, who I think has never had a day of fun in his whole life. I think he just eats cheese and sniffs his own farts all day. Honestly, after that, like if Jay Billis is a ESPN college basketball announcer, and what was the quote? He said, "If you want to stop court stormings, just have everyone who storms the next court either get arrested or get a citation." It's like
Yeah,
really
he
gonna
said
like
hold them there.
seriously, yeah.
Also, I'm going to sit there and say if MAV security, which is like the security people at Boise State, or was until they went full WWE on students for
Yes.
trying to rush the
Had
court.
their yeah.
A couple, like, was that last? It was either last year or the year before, but they were
2
like
years
throwing
ago.
people down. If it is a thing that I'm going to get a citation, and the other like route out of that is leave, I'm not letting a MAV event security guy stop me from leaving. Like,
Yeah.
I'll get my friends I'm there with and be like, no, we're leaving. You can try to tackle us all. That's fine. Like, I'm not, it's just, you don't, like, college basketball is big, yes, but the college basketball is big because of the NCAA tournament. And one thing kids look forward to is, you know, Wake Forest never beats Duke. So if, I understand, like, you don't want people getting hurt, even though he flopped, and no one wants to say it, but Caitlin
So
Clark flopped
so
too.
you think he flopped?
Yes, I think I think he stuck his foot out to trip that kid. And the
So
kid
I
behind
don't.
him, yes, did kind of push him,
Oh
but
my gosh, there was someone on ESPN Get Up today. Is it Chris Cantley who's in
I
ESPN?
believe so, yeah.
So Chris Cantley, I think, had a great opinion, and I think it's the opinion that, or it's the on the Filipowski side of it, the opinion I agree on the most, and it was I don't think he stuck it out. I don't think he flopped. I think he knew in a sense, like if you watch Jared McCain, he sprints off the court.
Right.
And Kyle Filipowski, for whatever reason, and look, he should not have got run into. If he didn't stick out, that is not his fault. But at some point, it stinks, but you got to be the bigger person. Like
Right.
it sucks because like he was like trying to walk off and probably knowing like, oh man, like there's people all around me. I'm looking to get angry because I'm emotional and I don't want to deal with this. It sucks, man. Like losing sucks. And it sucks
Also,
also having to be the bigger person to walk away from probably some 19-year-old frat douche who's like screaming in your face. Like yeah, of course that sucks. Like but
well, it
it,
doesn't
it comes with
help
being a D1
either.
athlete.
Right. And it doesn't help either that it's, and I don't hate Duke like everyone else does. Like, I mean, I don't like or hate them. They're like,
I miss Coach K.
normally,
What would have done? What would have Coach K done in this situation?
like, normally I think their villain guys are like kind of funny that everyone hates him so much. But as a Duke player where the Cameron Crazies are 3 centimeters away from the opposing bench, you cannot
Yeah,
complain. Like, I understand you don't want people getting hurt. And yeah, there every once in a while people is going to take it too far. But what, because of 2 incidents and however many court stormings there are a year, you're gonna like take away one of the best parts about going to college? Like the whole wait 30 seconds thing, that to me ruined it. Like, I don't want to sit there for 30
no,
seconds
yeah.
and then be
If you're
like, all
gonna do
right,
it, you
everyone, let's
have
go.
the way to do it, and I think the way it's probably gonna have to be done forward because I don't think court storming is gonna get banned or outlawed because I think it pisses off college's main customer, which people forget is the students. Like
Right.
that is like college sports isn't about the Jay Billases. It isn't about the coaches. It isn't about us talking about it. It's about the students, the student athletes, and the students who want to have fun. So how do you protect the student athlete and the students who want to have fun? You protect the student athlete by doing what Creighton did and roping off that section to make sure that there is a area. And I think Boise did that after the WWE incident. They also
Yes.
implemented that strategy where you rope off the exit so that the opposing team can end exit. Now, of course, there might be players on other sides of the court. Maybe it's not the perfect strategy, but that is the best strategy. You can also kind of funnel kids to make sure they're only rushing in one specific area. Yes, it's a slower tunnel or trickle out onto the court, but it's just there has to be a happy medium somewhere because I don't
Well, you
think
also
court banning, it's the same thing with like ban underage drinking at football games and basketball games. Anyone who's been to a college basketball game, a football game, know that's not the case.
right.
Like you can't just ban something and expect it to stop. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, and it, you have, if you really want to, right, get some cops, police officers, security guys, whatever you want, and basically have them go to that part of the student section and be like, hey, it's looking like you guys might be able to storm. When you do it, please don't, like, I mean, and I know not everyone's going to
Exactly.
listen to it because you're going to have like drunk idiots. That's going to be at anything. But I mean, a perfect example when Tennessee beat Alabama a couple years ago,
Yeah.
and way more people came onto that field, which is way bigger and a much bigger
Jermaine
win than,
Burton hit someone. Was
yeah,
that the
like,
one where Burton
I
You
believe
know,
so.
we
Yeah.
we talked about that during football season that this was coming. We were talking about this court storm, field storm phenomenon, and we were like, this is gonna come to a blow. But because I think you're right, the football field is too big and there's too much going on that it's hard to see stuff. And basketball is a little more in your face, especially
Yeah.
because look, Jermaine Burton's a great player, but it's a wide receiver that most of America doesn't like know. With
Right.
Caitlin Clark and Duke basketball is a completely different scenario.
Right. And you don't have to. Like, I'm sorry, but I would almost, if I was the opposing coach. If I was John Shire, right, I would almost say before the game, like, hey, just in case, like, you guys end up winning, I know people are probably like, it's a big game. I know a court storm's probably going to happen if you guys win. If we don't come and shake hands, it's not like we're being a sore loser or anything like that. I just want to get the guys off the court, make sure
Yeah.
nothing happens and one of my players gets suspended because he hits someone or someone shoves him and it gets out of control. Like, you don't have to always go to the middle of the field or shake hands on the sidelines of a, I don't even know what you would call it, I guess, like the inbounding part of a basketball court. Yeah, the baseline. Just say, like, go after it cools down a little bit, be like, hey, like, it's, you don't get rid of it. And that's my issue with these college.
Unprepared. Sorry to interrupt you, but unprepared was the word. I think everyone was unprepared. I think Duke was unprepared, like you said. Like, you're Duke. Like, you have to know, like, get the hell off the court. Wake Forest security, unprepared. You have to know, like, that students were foaming at the mouth to get down. You don't get on the court that quick with being in your seats. They were right on the baseline. And Kyle Filipowski, you have to be more prepared. It sucks because you have to be the bigger person. Like I totally get it. If I was in Kyle Filipowski's shoes, I'd be pissed off too, and I'd probably be like, oh, I hope someone tries me, like, with the attitude.
Right.
But dude, like, you have to realize your spot and your valuableness to the team that's hoping to make a national championship push. Like, they can't risk you. Like, you can be laughing at all those suckers from Wake Forest when you're in the Final Four. That's what I would tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Filipowski.
And again, to me, college basketball is special in a way that no other sport is. Like, I don't know, for example, like, say Central Michigan. I have no idea what their record is, no idea if they're good or bad. Say they make the NCAA tournament as a 13 seed or whatever they would normally be ranked as a MAC school. There's no other sport that, if they're a 13 seed, they're playing the 4 in Denver or Salt Lake, wherever the first round of games are this year, that you have the opportunity as a student or alumni to go to that game and, like, I guess maybe with the college football playoff now, but like normal college football is, oh yeah, we made it to the Cotton Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not, like, to me, these analysts and stuff that act so high and mighty about
they
college basketball, like, stop acting like you have the perfect sport. Okay, Rick Pitino turned the other eye when prostitutes were getting hired, and
he's like your poster boy all over ESPN and CBS. Also, what the hell was he wearing on Saturday?
The white suit. I do love the white suit.
No, I don't like the white suit. That guy looks like he's renewing his vows in Maui. That's what he looks like he's gonna do. And his wife's mad at him because he showed up buzzed.
Yeah,
that's what he looks like.
So yeah, it's just like, I don't get these, and they all, like, most of them, they, like, look down on anyone who wants to take they look down on, like, Mark Titus for being, like, or the what was it? It was Titus and Tate. I can't think of the other guys he's at Barstool now, Mark Titus, but he used to have the show with the Tate guy. And they were, like, younger guys covering college basketball that, like, what student, like, they look at it as like, yeah, you act differently
funny.
normally.
It's like,
yeah,
college basketball is funny. These guys, like, half these guys objectively suck. Like, they will never make professional basketball. It's like, it can get brutal at times to watch. And I think it goes back to the basketball purist mindset that you're kind of talking about, because when you say, like, I love college basketball, I like watching it more than the NBA, but I watch college basketball sometimes because it sucks, because it's 18 and 19-year-olds messing up, and if you call them out on it, you'll just go, well, they actually just run systems. Like, that's what, like, college basketball people will say. It's like, well, they actually play defense and run systems. It's like, and what if, like, it's just like a funny game that 24-year-olds who can play 18-year-olds who, like, 24-year-olds who will never play basketball after the year will play a future NBA All-Star. Like that's insane.
Well, look, I mean, a perfect example is, look at the Final Four last year. You had San Diego State, you had FAU, you had UConn, and who did UConn beat on their
Miami.
side?
Oh, always the
Miami.
forgotten Miami. NILU.
Okay. So there is seriously probably not a single person on San Diego State, Miami, or FAU that'll ever be in the NBA. So you don't
Ladi.
that's what
I might be
Ladie is
on
really
this.
good.
Yeah, Ladi. I might say Ladi. I'm on the Ladi
Yeah.
train. All aboard the Ladi. Dee
So
dee dee
unless you're
dee.
unless you're a fan of one of those teams, you're never you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember the year, San Diego State hit the buzzer beater against FAU to go to the national title, but you don't get that in any other. There's no run like that in any other sport where it's like, all right, like cool, we're a 12 seed, and what is it? I guess 2 or 3 weeks later, you're like, holy crap, we're in the Final Four. We're playing UConn. Like, I know that they're probably better than us, but we've been on this insane run where we beat Alabama, or we beat, if we were 9, like we're Northern Iowa, we beat Kansas. Like, you don't get that in any other sport. And to me, these guys like Jay Bilas and Jeff Goodman with the freak out over
Yeah. Seth Davis had a freak out.
yes, and they all just act like these pompous, like arrogant, no other word for them, douchebags. That's what they act. It makes you not even like, I don't even want to follow them because I'm like, you guys just act like nobody can question what you say over a sport that is up there with college football in terms of like dirty money. Like, that's what it is. I'm sorry. Like, there's
dirty money, like unpredictability, and honestly, probably more unpredictable than college football at times with the way that the tournament schedules are structured. But I want to see one more court storm this year. We only got a couple more weeks, but I really hope there's like one more court storm so that like we can like relive this. Also, Twitter fired it. The last thing I'll say was Twitter was cooking up again. I saw so Delta State won their first game of the year, and like the 30 student section, and like great for Delta State, and like the 30 students who are at the game, and I shit you not, it's like 30. They stormed the court, and like everyone's going crazy, and someone replied with the video of JBL saying you're going to jail for John Cena, and they have a warrant for arrest, and the caption was Jay Bilas is immediately going to Delta State, or like his reaction.
Did you see incredible. The one of Mississippi Valley State with the announcers where they were like just in pure, they're like, shout out the SWAC, shout out Coach.
Oh no, it was Mississippi Valley State. It wasn't Delta State. Corrected. It was Mississippi Valley State. Yeah, they're like, shout out the SWAC. And one win.
What makes college basketball funny. Like,
a 1-win SWAC team is storming the court. That's awesome. Well, I wish I could play with SWAC teams on NCAA 25. And this is a little bit old news, but since our last episode, the new NCAA reveal trailer was released, and we didn't get a lot of gameplay, but we saw renderings, and we finally got a release. It confirmed a release date. And I don't know about you, but I took a big deep breath because there was part of me that was like, yeah, this is not coming out for another 2 years.
I didn't. Did they confirm like an act? I saw they said in what, July,
and then they're gonna have a gameplay trailer released in May or June.
Okay, I thought they'd maybe come out with like an exact date in July.
No, I mean they're still fudging stuff. I mean it was just renderings, but I'm looking forward to play. The one thing Boise State Twitter I've seen taken over is, did you know that the only team that was in the last game that's not in this one is Idaho? Ha 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 ha. It's like sick, but why don't? But I am excited to play for, play Boise State. I'm excited to play in like weird stadiums. Like I want to play on Eastern Michigan's turf. Like this game gets me excited. I already said I have to buy a PS5 now. I don't have a PS5. No. I'm gonna have to finance a PS5 to play this game.
So the best part about, and it's gonna be weird because obviously we're not in college anymore, but the last year of NCAA came out my freshman year of college, and there was nothing better, honestly, than. And that's what I mean. Like, it goes back to like college is like no other time in your life. So let college kids be stupid. But there's nothing better than like going to a party on like a Friday night. You have a game the next day, and you get home at like 2 or 3 in the morning. You throw something in, like
rev that bad boy up.
You rev that bad boy up, and you're eating like Dino Nuggets or like taco, and you're like, oh, like you're like, legitimately about to pass out because you drink too much, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna take Eastern Michigan, and then whoever you're playing against will take like I don't even know, North Texas,
Buffalo.
right? Buffalo,
See?
and
Yeah.
you play that, and like it's just like the whole thing is like funny because it's like a dorm room, and all that's like on like your table in the dorm room is like bottles of like Powerade, a copy of
It's
NCAA
the
at the time,
classic.
like
It's the classic
14. Yeah, it's
NCAA.
like
Yeah.
that's what
So I
makes
got a
NCAA
question.
fun.
So I got a question. Besides Boise State, and since you're an Ole Miss fan, I'll take out Ole Miss too. Who's the player and the team that you're most excited to play in this game?
Ooh, player in the team.
Can't do any player from Boise. Can't do any player from Ole Miss. Can't do Boise or Ole Miss.
Honestly, I'm trying to think of a player that I would really, really like to use going into next year.
Well, how about a team?
I always like using like Hawaii or like Texas Tech, some team that's gonna like their whole playbook
Air
is
it
just
out.
air it out plays, and you can throw on like 8-minute quarters and just be like, all right, well here I go, I'm gonna throw it 72 times. I like using all the teams. Like it'll be
I
like Auburn will
I
be kind of fun, honestly, with
I have
their
two.
offense. You have
I
two.
cannot wait to run the triple option.
Yep, that one's
I
fun.
cannot wait to use those bumpers and just run because you already know there's going to be someone who just like perfects the triple option. It's going to be like because I know in Madden there's some people who they only run the ball because they're so good at running. There's going to
Mhm.
be those triple option people in this NCAA game, and then player wise, gotta give it to my boy Miller Moss. Miller Moss just seems like I feel like Miller Moss. He's going to be so slow. You're not going to be able to run with him, but he's going to have like a 99 overall, like intermediate and short game, and that's how I played these kind of games. I just dink and dunk, drag, tight end drag, curl flats, PA waggle, the digs, like
Yeah, I always love
overs,
like what is it, the PA fly stretch where you have like the
plie
slot.
flash. The tight end comes.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's one
PA
that you're like,
PA fly
he's
stretch
always
and
your first look.
PA rollout. That's another great one. My favorite. Oh, dude, like there's just so much stuff to look forward to, and we're finally going to get that. I think social media is also going to play a big hand because you're going to have players who are going to be like, I'm playing with myself, and players like it's just going to create a whole buzz. And more than ever, I think kind of like sports gambling is going to just make more people college football fans. Like it really
Oh
will,
yeah.
because there's going
People
to
are
be
tired of Madden too, but I mean, I get the hate on Madden, but there's not a lot you can really change in Madden, and NCAA has always kind of been where you can, if you're gonna be like you do the dynasty or whatever, you
that's
can
why
be
people like NCAA is
yeah, you can
dynasty.
go to like a random team and be like, oh, I'm gonna be, the offensive coordinator for this team, and then randomly leave, Ohio State to go to Maryland. Like it's just different. So
No, I'm excited, and there's gonna be. I already know people who don't watch college football that are gonna buy the game and they're gonna fall in love with it, which is awesome. Play with Tennessee, maybe, or are you thinking about playing as University of Tennessee in
they're a
the
fun team to
Madden game?
take,
Maybe Nico Alamialeva. Is that how you pronounce his last name? We'll
I
get it right,
believe.
but before next season. That was my first time saying it on camera. He's a beast. Watch out for Nico. I'm not going to even try because it's the first time I pronounce it. I want to pronounce it correctly because I hate getting people's names wrong. Like you asked me, like Filipowski at the beginning of the show, but yeah, the NCAA last week lost their court ruling to Tennessee, um, essentially ruling the NCAA powerless over NIL restrictions. It's going to open a can of worms in good, bad, whatever. It's just a can of worms. I think I read somewhere that in 2 states now, I don't know what the 2 states are, like college, like high school kids can be directly talked to about NIL, like from the school. It's a mess. It's a
Yeah,
mess.
I
It's
mean, that's the road they went down, so now they got to deal with it.
it's yeah, they could have put a system in. They could have owned up and released half their power 10 years ago and still had that power today, but the NCAA wanted to write a power trip And now they're going to go down a rabbit hole where each one of these states are going to go, wait, the NCAA can't punish us. I think this is just I don't know if, because the March Madness is such a machine, right? March Madness is such a machine that I think that's like the last power like bullet that the
Yeah.
NCAA has. I think this is my prediction. I think football is gonna end up like semi breaking off from the NCAA. Where like they're gonna allow the NCAA to like make the money. Essentially, like the NCAA is gonna work for college football. Not college
Right.
football is gonna work for NCAA. Like, the NCAA is gonna make like the scheduling, the officials, the conferences, all of that. But then the NCAA is not gonna be able to be like, oh, you got in trouble. It's gonna be like, nope. That's gonna be like a new governing body of football.
Yeah.
Is what I
No,
think is
they're
gonna
not.
happen.
The NCAA's done with football. It'll last a few more years, but
I don't know. I think we talked
it's
about it
lost its
last week.
control.
We talked about it last week. We got to get, and it sucks because it's everyone's gonna have to admit that it's no longer amateur athletes. But if you people complaining about the transfer portal, do you want to complain about the transfer portal or NIL? Because I have a way that it'll get rid of the transfer portal if you don't like that. If you don't like players flip flopping, these contracts, you just like
Yeah.
sign them to NIL contracts and say if you leave, you void this money and or you will owe us this money. So whatever deal you get at your new school, you have to give us that money, but like this X amount of that money, just like how you would have had to buy out your way of any other contracts. And
Right.
it's gonna make it dirty because there's gonna be people, 18-year-olds who it's a common theme in this episode. College kids are stupid. Like there's gonna be some like I don't know. It's I think Big Cat says it best. I mean, we mentioned other podcasters. Please give them a listen. They are very good at what they do as well. Um, but Big Cat talks and he's like, he just wants to get to the end game. Like, where's just the end? Can we just get to the end now? Because right now we feel like we're in this waiting period. We're just
Yeah.
waiting for whatever the end is going to happen.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's this right now is not working because you have, I mean, what, 2,000 people in the transfer portal? Like
Every season, and it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger unless like you players are locked into something. I think you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like
right.
I think, and that's it. I know it sounds. I'm not a college athlete, so like take that with a grain of salt. But I think if you take a sum of money from school, that school has the right to be like, you cannot go anywhere for like 3 years,
Right.
and like it's also your decision to be like, well, I don't want to go to your school then. But then I think there just needs to be something like, so is there like a 1 year contracts, like 2 year contracts? It's just going to become pros. Like 1 year, you could sign a 1 year NIL, you could sign a 2 year NIL, 3 year NIL, 4 year NIL. And the numbers, like you get more money with the 4 year, but you cannot transfer till your graduate
Right.
year. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But Tennessee, you just started the ball rolling. All right. Well, it is now time for the meme matchup of the week, college basketball. Did I go first last weekend or did you go
I
first? Or two,
believe,
two
I
weeks ago?
believe, I believe I went first last time.
All right. Then I will give my meme matchup of the week. And it's actually, this is actually a solid matchup, but it's a meme matchup not because I think it's funny, just because there's a lot of little quirks I like in it. And it's Gonzaga versus USF. And I
Really?
think this is
Oh,
yeah,
San
Gonzaga.
Francisco. Okay, I was thinking South Florida. But
South Florida. Yeah, I have to make that clear. San Francisco, the University of San Francisco, home of Bill Russell. That's where he went. But this game's going to be played at the Chase Center. I didn't know this. Usually USF plays in their like old, like very old school, like beautiful, but it's old and it's small gym on campus. But they're playing in the Warrior Stadium, probably for good reasons. Gonzaga brings a good show to town. But this is a great game. You have Mark had a few, and honestly, like I was just blown away that I'm so interested to see how much of the Chase Center they're actually going to fill this up because it is on a Thursday night. So as you people will be listening to this, uh, the Settle Down fan base, you can watch this tonight if you're listening to on a Thursday. I don't know what channel this is on It's probably ESPN because it's WCC. Do you think they even fill up a third of the Chase Center?
How good
Is
San Francisco good this year again?
They're pretty solid. I mean, it's looking that they're going to have to win the WCC tournament to get in, but they've played a lot of good teams close. They've played St. Mary's close. They played BSU close. I think they played Gonzaga close to their first meeting. Don't take my word for that. But they've looked good. They got that one Mongolian guy or whatever. It's like kind of a ball hog, but he's pretty good. He's kind of wet. So, yeah, that's my matchup of the week.
Well, mine, we're going all the way to the other side of the country, and I'm going the Maine Black Bears versus the Bimington Bearcats.
There's a school called Bimington.
Yeah, I believe they're in New Jersey. Maybe it's New York.
I think you're making up fake names. Bimington.
They are in New York. The Bimington Bobcats.
Bimington Bobcats. No way. Sorry, I'm just looking up famous alumni from that school.
It is in, I guess, Bimington, New York. I don't know where that is in New York, but
William Baldwin went there?
really?
Tony Kornheiser from Pardon the Interruption went there? What the heck? What is this random school?
Well, the last time they played.
Oh my gosh, Carl, this must be like some small private school. Carl Ravitch from Baseball Tonight.
So the last time these two played, Bimington pulled one out 51-50. It was a barn burner.
51-50, yeah.
Maine shot 16 of 46 and Bimington shot 22 of 50.
I love that. What conference are they in?
In the American East, who Vermont is 13-1 in right now.
I feel like Vermont's just a perma 14 seed in the tournament.
Yeah.
Perma 14 seed.
And they're one
a couple years ago. Yeah, they're like, oh, this Vermont's supposed to be good, and then they lose by like 11 to Baylor.
Yeah. Every single, because they made it. Let's see here. They made it a couple years ago, right? In 2021, 22.
Yeah, they made it since
like that year.
I've really started to follow.
Oh yeah, okay. They made it that year, and they lost to Arkansas by 4. They were 13 seed too.
That was a Musselman. Oh my gosh, was that the Must Bus where your shirt wasn't supposed to come? You got the Must Bus shirt. So for you, Zooch bought an Eric Musselman Must Bus shirt, but it was scheduled to come a few days after the start of the tournament, and he was stressing over Arkansas losing before the Must Bus shirt could be worn. Do you still own the Must Bus shirt?
I do own the Must Bus shirt. It's a little worn now because I've worn it a lot, to go down to the river. Or it's a definitely like summer shirt. Like
we'll
red,
have to show the people.
We'll
have to show the people on camera at least the Must Bus shirt.
I should be able to
find
it real
March
quick.
Madness. No worries. We'll leave him wanting and asking for more about our conference tournaments breakdown. All right. Well, now I want to see them. Okay. We'll wait to see the Must Bus shirt, but the Must Bus shirt is coming. We will see the Must Bus shirt in a few weeks. I'm so excited. All right. Well, let's get to High-Low Buffalo and the show off. College player and fan interactions. So it's kind of a vague. This could be any interaction. And what is it high? Why is it high? Why is it low? Why is it a Buffalo? The only criteria was that it has to be college sports. So sorry, Malice at the Palace fanatics. You will not be seeing anything like that. Or Steve Bartman. This is college players only. Should I go first with my high?
Yeah, go ahead.
So my high it's probably one of the most iconic moments in college football history. And it's the band is out on the field. And it's hilarious. It's the 1982 Cal versus Stanford, the big game. And the band runs out on the field, and the radio call by Joe Starkey is great. He said, the band is out on the field. He said, his voice is squeaking, and the Cal player smashes into the Stanford, I think, was it trombone player or tuba player, who now has made a career being a legend on campus because he's a loser who has no spatial awareness. But that is the best in my opinion. Like it is the running, scoring a touchdown, the entire band's on the field. And I know, speaking of players having spatial awareness, that Cal player definitely could have avoided it. He saw
Yeah,
that bad player and was like, well, I can't get penalized because they're on the field during the play. Boom, just trucks them.
that one I love. That used to be in NCAA. It was one of the things you could like
Yeah,
memorable moments that you
that
could
took me
try to
like an
do.
hour to get. That literally took me an hour
Yeah,
to get.
it took forever. It was extremely, extremely hard. So my high has got to be when Aaron Hernandez slapped somebody deaf and then proceeded to possibly murder somebody like
Oh my goodness! And
15
is that a
minutes later.
high? Is that a high? We went totally different. Like I said, this was vague. So is that high just in terms of like almost like the most like what the F
Yeah,
R-rated like Scorsese film kind of football scenario is this?
that is a epitome of the Urban Meyer experience right there. Is the heart problem started shortly after that when his players were
Yeah.
slapping people deaf and quite possibly murdering another
That is
person.
insane. And Urban knew about it, but he was like, "Oh, and this what it is," doing his whole Urban
He gave him
shtick.
a seat at the what do they call the high table?
Yeah, the high table, which is AKA like the bully freshman table, or if you are going to the NFL table.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
So my low is a low because it's like kind of brutal for both ways, but it's when Marcus Smart shoved the fan in the stands in the Oklahoma State basketball game.
Yep, I
And
remember that one.
it's my low because on the surface it's kind of funny. But then when you dig deeper, it's like, why is like Marcus Smart like even going that far in and shoving a fan? But then also apparently the fan possibly, this is not proven, it's just what Marcus Smart has said something racist to Marcus Smart, and the fan says he just called Marcus Smart a piece of crap. I read the story today to make sure all these facts were right, the ESPN. So that's my low because I just remember being like so wild. Like I remember that being the first time in college ball I had seen like a player like because it was like 10 rows up. I feel like and like because he
Yeah,
like
he. I
ran up
mean,
and then like you see the guy like point at him and then like it wasn't like a Malice at the Palace like brawl or punch or anything. He just kind of goes like boom and like he just gives him like an offensive lineman like shove like that.
yeah, that one was. I mean, that was kind of at the beginning of. I feel like when college sports really like you started getting, more
Like the ESPN
streaming,
deals, yeah.
ESPN deals. Twitter was getting a little bit bigger, so like stuff started going viral. I guess would be the
Hmm.
word for it,
Yeah.
and that was actually my low as well.
Really? I thought I was gonna be like obscure and stuff doing that.
Well,
That's
it's some
insane.
of them are hard to like think
It
about
is
because
a
I'm
low
like,
no because it was the only one where I like got and I was like, I'm not laughing as hard because it's kind of like a terrible situation all the way around.
right,
Because if he did say something racist, that's terrible. And even if he did it, he still called him a piece of crap. And even if like he said like, "Hey, boo you," like Marcus Smart lost his cool for no reason. Like
right,
there's all three possible scenarios just like aren't cool.
yeah,
The one that's the least not cool is I think you piece of crap. Bam. That's the only one where I think there's a shrivel of it being like a little funny. Both the other ones not funny at all. But so before I give my Buffalo, I have to bring my honorable mention first because I think my Buffalo is going to knock it out of the park. So my
okay.
honorable mention, and this could go for high, low, or Buffalo, was the fake ref in the UCLA Arizona game that caused the brawl in like 2010 or 13. He runs out with the shorts and picks up the ball, and then a brawl ensues on the football field versus UCLA and Arizona. So
That
I
one
think
was mine. Also, my low. Do you want me to do my low first because it involves a Pac-12, and it was just
well,
like absurdly funny to
your
me, like the
Buffalo, yeah,
context.
go for it. You give your Buffalo because I think my Buffalo is gonna knock it out of the park. I I,
So my,
I think it's my best Buffalo since we've been doing the show.
so mine was And it was a game that nobody cared about. Like, I don't even know if I think it was on the Pac-12 network. It was this year, and I saw a thing on Twitter about it, and I just like immediately started dying laughing at the photo. It was the student protesters at the Cal game this year. And the picture was just all these people sitting around the middle of the field and the Cal kicker just like trying to warm up. Like, come on, bro. Like, why
I
are you guys
went
doing
to
this right now?
the last Cal game I went to. There was also student protesters, but they didn't do it on the field. They like climbed like there's always a protest at a Cal game. It's part of the Cal experience, honestly. If you don't go to if you go to a Cal game and there's not either a group of protesters directly outside or during the game, you did not get your money's worth. But that is a good one because I remember who were they playing? Because I do remember it was just like that awkward. They were just kind of like standing there
I think
for
it was
like,
UCLA.
or was it US? It was USC.
USC, yeah, USC.
I remember that, and they got delayed. I do remember that now. But my Buffalo, and I may have hyped this up, but I think this is too funny, is Dak Prescott getting knocked out in Panama City Beach on spring break.
It happened.
That's my
happened.
Buffalo. People say he hasn't been the same. People say he hasn't been the same. Now, Zooch, being from Panama City Beach, what do you or around closer to that area? What do you think Dak did to warrant that kind of aggressive response?
What you basically had is, so if you ever go to at least the panhandle part of Florida, right? Or if you go to Orange Beach in Alabama, that general area, you get a lot of drunk college kids going there for spring break because it's not too expensive. You can get, a hotel on the beach, or you can get a bunch of buddies and rent an Airbnb, condo, beach house, whatever it might be. But you also have the 40 to 60 age range, like dads who will show up in like the Guy Harvey, like fishing button-up shirt, khakis, boat shoes, sunglasses with the little like wire that goes on the back of them, that they get a little bit too drunk and are trying to pretend that they're 20 years old still, and that's when the altercations happen.
I feel like there's a lot of people in their 30s and 40s who are thinking they're in college, drinking like they're in college.
Yep.
And poor Dak, I'm not a fan of Dak the player, but I don't want to see anyone get knocked out in Panama City Beach, Florida on camera. And that video is on YouTube. If you look up Dak Prescott knocked out spring break, I don't want it. Like that's terrible, but it does make for a funny Buffalo.
Another funny one.
Of all the places you could have got knocked out in, Panama City Beach, Florida.
Yeah, it's very white trash there. I'll leave it at that. Another funny one, and it technically wasn't a player, is the picture of Lane Kiffin holding up the golf ball.
Yep.
At the Tennessee game. And there's the mustard on the ground, and
yep. Oh, that's a funny one. There was one more that I was thinking, oh my God, what was it? Maybe I'm just making this up. No, and then I just started like getting into it was just like fan reactions, but I guess they weren't interactions because I was trying to find like moments, but it's just a ton of fan reactions. The OG Surrender Cobra from like the Michigan guy after the punt. I almost did kind of player adjacent, but AJ McCarron's girlfriend and mom getting vocally assaulted by Brett Musburger during the national championship game.
That one was good though.
That is brushed under the rug, and it usually surfaces. With this podcast, try to surface it as much as we can. Because during football season, I think we mentioned it like 4 or 5 times, but it only comes up like once or twice a year on the national circuit. That needs to be talked about way more.
That does do you remember the Virginia fan who was like laid over there? Like they have like the little brick thing for the student section, like the rafter, and when Notre Dame beat them on like a Hail Mary, the Virginia fan, he was like,
I still
laid
remember
over
watching. That is so funny. I still remember watching live the Wazoo fan munching down on kettle corn in the pouring rain. I was watching this Wazoo Stanford game in like 2012. But
yeah, there's
a lot of fan. I'm hoping to get more this year, more interactions this year.
Speaking of fan interactions, and on this, I want Prudential Center investigated for what they've done to Frank the Tank. They had Frank the Tank speechless because he was so sad. They said they're gonna. He's saying that they are planning to jump him.
Yeah, so the Prudential Center is not doing their due. There was a group. It seems like the section that's near Frank has become quite hostile. Now we don't know the reasons, or maybe these guys were single ticket buyers, but they were quite hostile towards Frank, and the Prudential Center was a bystander. I got bully lessons in like elementary school, and a bystander is just as worse as the bully.
Right.
So the Prudential Center not making a claim or helping Frank is them making a claim and a stance. So
Yeah,
yeah, we need.
he loves the Devils. He was truly just almost he barely could get the words out. He was so sad, and I want an investigation because he's right. Lindy Ruff has not won a Stanley Cup since like 1999 and is on like his 15 team since then because the NHL loves to cycle coaches.
The NHL
So
does love to cycle coaches, and if you love NHL, check out the good old Hockey Pass boys, Gally and Sean. They do a great job. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Just a heads up, there will be a Zooch and Wild Settle Down bracket challenge. It will be free to enter, and you can win a $50 Amazon gift card. All you need to do is enter. We'll have more details later, but it's just going to be an ESPN bracket challenge. We'll have some sort of sign up Google Forms, and you just have to follow us on Instagram. Those are the only three requirements. We'll be back recording a show in 2 weeks for our conference championship previews. Can you believe that? Conference championship previews?
no, I'm
It's already
excited.
here.
I'll be there.
Conference championship previews, as well as during March Madness, having weekly, maybe shorter episodes, but making sure we're giving those weekly updates every week during the March Madness tournament. And post tournament, maybe there'll be some interviews. A little birdie told me post tournament there might be some interviews. So stay tuned to that. But right now we are focused on March Madness.
And I can't wait. There will be memes. We all remember the Northwestern kid and the Villanova flute player.
Oh, that'll be our next Hilo Buffalo. Remind me, notes it. That'll be our next one, a Hilo Buffalo of March Madness memes. But Zooch, anything else?
I don't think so. I think we're all set.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you in 2 weeks.